Ewan, hello.
Hello, Mark. You alright?
I'm good. We are stood here looking at Devil May Cry 5, which I went to play, and you have played all of the previous ones?
I've played a few of the previous ones. I don't claim to have any massive knowledge, but I did play a bit of DMC5 during Gamescom.
Okay, well, this will be interesting then, because I have never played a Devil May Cry game. This is my capture, which I got at a preview event held by Capcom in a pre-build
Yeah.
of the game. So please be sparing with your criticisms of my combat. But you know what? I loved it.
Yes, I did as well. I think for me, I don't tend to play a lot of these games, and from the looks of it, nor do you.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I think it throws back to a much simpler time in video games. It's very arcadey, very fast-paced. It's a good old-fashioned brawler. You don't really see many of those anymore these days, so it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it reminded... I'm sure Devil May Cry fans will say that this has been the way it has been for years, but it reminds me a lot of a fighting game more than anything, because it is about hitting those combos and stringing them together, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's got a touch of Bayonetta about it, which itself, it does just feel like it's a fighting game, basically. It's all about getting into the flow, getting that rhythm going, and beating the shit out of everything.
Which is what I'm attempting to do here. So quickly, the story of Devil May Cry 5, it's too much to explain, especially if you don't really know the series like me. But you play as three characters. You've got Nero, who we're playing as now. Dante, obviously, who is the protagonist from previous games, I'm right?
Yes.
And also a new character called V. Sorry, 1 second. This is just stunning by me here.
Yes, I made a note of this. It's like... It's just hard to watch. I mean, it looks cool, but you got to feel for the demon. That's no way to die.
Hey there, demons. It's me, your boy, shooting you up. Anyway, so yes, you play as new character V as well. And all three of these characters, they handled very differently. Which was quite nice because it breaks up the combat a little bit. Obviously, it's mostly running from fight to fight through it has to be said, stunning set pieces.
Yes.
But with the three different characters, so here's V.
Okay.
Right now. So V's a new guy. Instead of being sort of a straight up brawler, you use his three demon pals to beat up demons from a distance. So you've got, let me just make sure I'm getting these names right. Shadow is like I want to say Jaguar.
Okay.
The big cat.
That is very, my eye was immediately drawn to the Jaguar.
Yeah. So he's like sort of your melee kind of melee. I always say it wrong. Melee attack dude. And you've got Griffin as well, who's like the laser shooting looking
that's
raven
incredible.
thing. And you've also got, I think I might use it in this fight, what's called a devil trigger. Which is another demon called Nightmare, who's kind of just comes in to make an absolute mockery of everything.
Yes, he does pop in a bit.
Yeah.
But I was really interested by the footage of, so this is V. Because when I played at Gamescom, I was playing as Nero.
Okay.
And that felt a lot more like the traditional Devil May Cry to me. So how distinctly different do these two characters feel from one another?
Well, it's interesting because they both have their pros and cons. They're both pretty differently balanced. The thing with V is that you can see he's taking... here's Nightmare. He's taking a step back from the action. So as V, you kind of rely on your demons to do the fighting for you.
Sure.
V is very squishy. If he gets hit, he's not having a good time.
Okay.
Also, he reminds me a little bit of Ollie Sykes from Bring Me the Horizon.
I can absolutely see that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So with him, you take a step back. With Nero, it's more about getting up close and personal. One thing that I really, really enjoyed was you've got a thing. So you see his arm, his right arm is,
Yes.
It's not an arm.
No, it's a detachable weapon, essentially.
Yes. So the thing that I really loved is when you get the opportunity to bring an enemy close to you, so you can do a lot of damage. So you thwip this, like a devil thing.
It's like a grappling hook, basically.
It's a
It brings them over, like Scorpion style.
Yeah. So Nero's gameplay is more about, beating demons with swift combos, whereas Nero is more about staying back and letting your demons do it. Obviously, you're still pressing the same buttons to do the things, but yeah. I did get to play a little bit as Dante as well, but not nearly as much as Nero and V. So I think there's a little bit of gameplay later on. So Dante is a lot more traditional,
Okay.
I would imagine is the right word. But he's got, instead of having all these fancy gizmos and demons and what have you, he's got 4 different stances which allow him to attack in different ways or defend if he needs to. So one, for example, makes him better at close-up swordplay. One will make him better at defending. Another one makes him better at long-range attacks with his pistols. And the other one, I can't remember what it does.
It does something.
It does a thing. But yeah, the 3 characters all play very differently, so it helps change up the style of combat that you're playing.
Yeah, that's good, because one concern for me was that, just looking at the combat, it looks great, and it's all about, it focuses on keeping those combos going and keeping the fight flowing. But I did wonder if after a while it starts to get a little monotonous. I played it for 20 minutes and I didn't find that, but you played it for considerably longer.
I did. I played it for 5 hours.
Yeah, so, how were you feeling by the end of that 5 hours?
Well, it's interesting because, yes, it can, it can grind, I suppose, a little bit. But one of the things that it does is there's a shop where you can buy new moves and new combos and abilities for each character. And in doing so, you unlock new ways to take down enemies, which is always interesting because they come at times where you're just getting used to using a specific attack.
Okay.
And then suddenly you've got another one to throw into the mix, and you have to think, okay, well, how am I going to use this now to, take out the next enemy? And it also gives you added incentive to go back through the missions, which you can do, and play for a better score. So you can see in the sort of middle to top right there, you have a score.
Sure.
I'm on apocalyptic at the minute, which I don't think is too bad.
Which is great. I did notice as well, as soon as you start a combo, you're automatically given a D and have to work your way up. So you start with a dismal every time.
Yeah.
Which I love that the game just kind of kicks you off by letting you know you're a bit naff, but it's gonna get better, and you'll work your way up to that sexy S. And did you notice as well that the music gets more intense the more combos you start to get going?
Yeah, Devil Trigger is the name of that song, and it's sort of the titular song of the game.
It's so edgy.
It's very edgy. It's very very Ollie Sykes. But yeah, so the more you attack, the more intense that song gets, which makes you, obviously puts you on edge for the fight. You want to keep it going. It gives you that bit of adrenaline that you need to get that triple S score, which I think is the highest you can get. I hope it's the highest you can get. I think I got to.
I'm fairly certain it is.
Yeah. But it gives you so much incentive to go back and make fights better and do everything more cleanly, get bigger combos, which give you the red orbs, which you can see in the top right there is how many I've got at the minute.
Okay.
And you use those to upgrade your characters and do whatever you need to do during the very downtime. So after every mission, you get the opportunity to upgrade, go to the shop, buy some new. So for Nero, you get to buy some new Devil Breaker arms, which is in the bottom right there, which you get, I don't know how many you get, but I think I saw 6 or 7 different ones.
Okay,
which you will unlock throughout the course of the game. Just playing the story game will get those too.
So you've always got something new to play with, essentially.
Yeah, which, if we take it back, that kind of really helps break up the monotony.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to get rinsed so bad for some of these combos, or lack of combos. But you know what? This is my first time playing the game. I don't think I did too badly.
No, I don't. But you know what people are like. You can't really get away with it.
I was talking to the devs actually at the preview event, and they were saying that they did a live stream where they were getting sort of B's and A's for certain instances, and people were rinsing them for it. And it's like, these are the devs of the game.
Yeah.
They made the game and they're getting a B or whatever. Like, that's not a terrible score.
No, so it's not a terrible score in any context, a B or an A, I would say. So I would also like to say that the game does look fantastic. These hellish environments, the textures are gorgeous.
It's one of the first things you notice is just how good this game looks. I think it's built on Capcom's, was it RE engine?
Yes, the one they used for Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. So it's running on the exact same engine as that, but I don't know what I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it looks better.
Yes, you did. You mentioned this the other day, and I personally think it does look better, but I think it's because it's more stylized and it's able to have all these insane effects. You know, you've not got like Leon slowing down time and chopping demons in half. That is supposed to look quite realistic. So by extension, I guess, a little mundane. Whereas this can really lean into the fantastical, and it looks all the better for it.
Yeah, so with Resi, it kind of strayed into that uncanny valley every now and again, especially with Claire. I don't know what it was about her face, but it just looked a little bit stiff and a little bit sort of awkward sometimes.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we're not poo-pooing Resi Evil because that was a stunning game to look at.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, this engine again, proving what they can do with it, and I'd be interested to see what else they can do once this game's out. Like what's next on the agenda for them.
Yeah, I mean, because this is a video game that looks like a video game. If you know what I mean, like it's over the top, it's insane. There's combos kicking off all over the place. There's all kinds of attacks. It's very video gamey.
It is very video gamey.
Gorgeous for it.
Yeah. It's interesting you should say that you prefer the hellish landscapes, because I found those to be, they're obviously interesting but very samey, whereas the game itself is based in a city which is reminiscent of London, but not called London.
Right, what's it called?
Oh, it's Red Grave City, I think it's called, or something like that.
See, I just assumed it was London. I did want to mention that actually, because one thing I really appreciate, this is such a weird, tiny detail.
Go on.
But so you see the red London buses,
yeah,
and that's immediately shorthand for you're in London. But what I noticed is that the bins look like how the bins would look in a UK city. And why is there a van there?
Nero has a companion. Thank you for pointing this out. Nero has a companion called Nico, and she drives around in that van.
Okay.
With
she
Nero.
the lass with the great hair in the trailers?
Yeah, she's a badass, man.
Yeah.
She is badass, and she drives the van around. And occasionally, in the middle of missions, you'll be able to call her in to come and give you some upgrades or whatever.
Okay.
But she's more prominent in the sort of the storyline, I suppose.
Sure.
But yeah, she's a really good character. But yeah, going back to the London thing, how weird is it that just being from England, you're like, those bins look familiar. It's like, oh my god, I really want to play this game now. The bins look familiar.
They're British bins, and like the road signs as well. There's a lot of it's a really tiny detail, but it's nice that they haven't just put in generic bins. I've said bins a lot.
You just need to stop saying bin.
Yeah, let's move on from the bins. So you did mention you found the real life city kind of settings more interesting than the hellscapes.
Oh yeah,
and I
gorgeous.
guess you've played through the game for 5 hours. What did you see more of?
Well, I would say I saw more of London. I appreciate that the footage that we're seeing here is a lot from hell.
Yeah.
But that's probably because I was getting more to grips with the game, so this is the better capture. But yeah, I think you probably see more of the London city, especially in the opening missions where you get into grips with the controls and the storyline. I don't know how much I can say about the story.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say that you do go into this sort of hellish area out of London. Sorry, stop calling it London. It's not London.
We know what you mean. It's fine.
It's basically London.
I mean, I imagine looking at this, I imagine if you were stuck in levels that look like this for the rest of the game, that would get a little boring. So I'm assuming they'll change it up as we go through. Yeah,
I think it's mix and match. There's bits of both.
Yeah.
But so this is Nightmare just absolutely wrecking this sort of semi-boss thing.
Are you controlling it as you ride it there?
No, so with V, when an enemy is beaten, you have to finish them off, which is where the sort of the life gauge, their reticule thing goes red. And you have to press B to sort of fly in and finish them off. So when you do like this, when you do it on that big beast, it takes a while for the move, sort of the move cycle to finish.
Okay.
So I was stood there like hammering B, like, oh my god, am I getting it? Like I think he's gonna kill me. But it's just that for whatever reason, that one move is kind of extra long.
Okay, nice. So yeah, it's obviously quite a visually busy game. Did you ever find you got lost in the action at all?
No, not really. Like I say, it's part of the learning curve of the game is to know where you need to be focusing. So with V, it's essential to keep him away from the main area of combat.
Sure.
But you also need to have an idea of what's in front of you, what's behind you, what's side to side. And you do with the other characters as well, but it's more immediate a need with V. With Nero, you really need to focus on your dodging and where you're attacking from, and putting yourself around the enemies so you know where you're going to get the best hits. And that is part of the learning curve of the game. Because if you get hit, it's your fault. Like the game, you never feel cheated by anything.
Yeah.
You just need to know that you need to do that better next time.
Okay, so at least in terms of V, it's not as much of a button basher as you might think.
Well, with V, I actually found it easier to get the high scores because your demons, your boys here, they tend to wail on enemies pretty hard.
Yeah.
And get a lot of small flurry hits in.
Okay.
And they're quite easy to power up and do bigger attacks. So that kind of does feel a bit button bashy, but like I say, nothing ever happens by accident. It's because you've pressed it that it happens. It's because you're doing it that it happens.
Okay, so there's always enough going on that you don't feel like you could just blindly mash your way to victory.
No, but there was one move that I found with Nero. Saying all this about how good the combat is, there was one move that I found with Nero which essentially let me just cheese the game. And it's a move that I think you unlock it, and it's a forward dash that stun locks the enemy. If you hit them with it right, it'll stun lock them.
Oh, God.
So you can just keep doing that until the enemy's dead.
Okay.
Which I think there might be some capture of it, and I didn't feel good about it, but it's there.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think it's like with Dark Souls to an extent as well. It's like you can cheese your way to victory in these games, but the question is, do you want to? Are you going to feel good doing that? Like the option's there if you want to stun lock your way to freedom. but simultaneously, you want to get that mad combo and experiment and have fun.
Yeah, and that's kind of the lifeblood of Devil May Cry game, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like hitting those sweet combos and feeling like an epic demon hunter, as opposed
and
to
trying to pretend you know what is going on.
Yeah. I mean, I spent the night before I went to play this, I spent looking up the storyline of Devil May Cry.
Down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, literally. I tried my best. All I know is that Devil May Cry 2 is considered not very good.
Here we've got Dante, who is Dante, yeah?
Yeah, that's Dante.
Okay, that's
he's so the monster designs in this are pretty hellish.
I did make a note of that. There's some like Dark Souls, Bloodborne level of. I'm aware I've just made that Dark Souls comparison twice, but these are really cool looking demons.
Yeah, these dudes are pretty gnarly. So they've got big scissors that you have to break before you can damage them.
Oh, that's cool.
So you kind of have. So yeah, this is Dante's Devil Trigger attack. Like V calls in Nightmare, Dante can turn into a bit of a demon and flame fist his way through everyone.
Very nice.
But yeah, Dante was he's a little bit of more of a heavy hitter than Nero. And I didn't get much of a chance, like I say, to play with him, but I imagine he controls the same as the old Dante.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly looks like he's moving, and just as I remember Dante move. So this is a point I meant to make. So are you locked into certain levels as certain characters, or do you get your pick?
Tough to say, because again, what I played was only sort of a linear part of the game.
Sure.
But there was a part where you could pick between playing as V or playing as Nero, and I believe that was two paths of the same story.
Okay.
So if you wanted to, you could go back and you could play it through as V. I did it as Nero, but you could go back and play it as V if you wanted to.
That's cool.
Now, I don't know if that counts for every mission. I imagine not, because it's a story.
Yeah.
But there is that replayability where you can go back and get the higher scores with the new moves. So
okay, I mean, there had previously been talk. This is by no means confirmed, but there had been talk of the DLC character being added somewhere down the line. So that implies to me that maybe after you complete the game, you can go through and defeat any mission with any character.
Possibly.
Which would keep things fresh.
Yeah, I mean, it would break the canon. But
yeah, but it's screw canon.
Canon sucks. Anyway, I think we're coming towards the end of the gameplay now.
Yes.
So my impressions from the preview I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I would be very interested to see the full game once it comes out, and I think I might even have to maybe pick up some of the old titles to refresh my memory. Not